and welcome to another edition of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discusses everything healthcare. I'm your host, Shawn Needham, and my wonderful wife is running the pharmacy today. And I am super excited to be streaming live from the Team Needham Abode podcast studio and to have Hamza Najam on our show today to talk about alcohol. If you follow us at all on social media and our podcast, Janet and I are very honest about alcohol. Alcohol is a poison. It definitely is, and it's more than just to your liver. It causes all kinds of problems in the body, and help decrease your immune system, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to guess, I don't know this for sure, maybe outside of um, tobacco or nicotine, and then caffeine probably is ahead of alcohol, but alcohol's probably got to be one of the most commonly abused drugs in the world. So maybe Hamza can answer that question. And without further ado, Hamza, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Shawn. Thank you so much for having me, and to everybody watching, hello, guys. My name is Hamza Najam. I am a breathwork teacher as well as an alcohol recovery coach. I am sober 5 years myself, and prior to that, I of course had a very long dance with alcohol myself. Today, I have a thriving community with Breathesober, which is my brand, and I use breathwork-based healing with anyone who has been trying to change their relationship with alcohol, drink less or not at all. And my work is focused on helping them address the root causes and shift the focus away from alcohol and onto the real problem, which is in the nervous system. So that's what Breathe Sober is all about. And that's what I'd love to talk about today.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for that introduction. And tell us where you're from.
I'm in London, Ontario, in Canada, but originally I am from Pakistan. So I moved here when I was 19.
Awesome. I love having international guests, and you're probably our fifth or sixth guest from Canada. So welcome.
Awesome, awesome.
So tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your journey with alcohol, and that's kind of how you got here.
Yeah, I mean, look, on paper, my journey started the same way as it does for most, in fact, all people. I was 18, 17, 18 when I got into it, just as fun, as friend with my friends. In Pakistan, you're not allowed to drink, so we had to do the whole bootlegger thing and hide it from our parents and keep it a secret, which kind of initiated the binge drinking in me because we had to finish it before the morning comes and
Oh,
people
right.
find it, right? So that's kind of how it started. I came to Canada. I was always, one to go out and have fun and all that. I love shooting pool. I love going to bars, especially because we don't have bars. So that whole concept was just,
Mm.
oh my God, but that's when I was 19. As I grew older, got more responsibilities, I also got into the music scene. I love electronic music, and that's one of my core passions. So I got into the business of setting up these house music parties and techno parties and stuff like that. And that's when things got really bad because of my the company that I kept. All my friends, everywhere you go, drinking, drugs, it's so common, it's second nature. I remember specifically we had a meeting with a promoter for this big event that we'd been planning for about a year. And this person invited us to their home on a Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock for a meeting, a business meeting. And instead of snacks and refreshments, there was whiskey and other stuff right there on the table to consume and start the meeting. I mean, that should tell you what I was up against and what I was
Right.
dealing with. Long story short, in my later 20s, it became more than just a fun thing. I found myself dependent on it. I was drinking it daily. I was drinking it to reduce stress, anxiety. I would always use it as an excuse to relax and unwind and then go out with my friends. And I always had a good excuse to drink.
Yeah.
Um, it turned into, nights would turn into mornings. I would miss work. I would be late on rent. I would struggle. I would get paid and blow 80% of it on a weekend and just living that same stressful cycle. I would create problems for myself while I was drinking, sober up, and immediately start focusing on those new problems, forgetting about the old ones that are still unresolved. So, in effect, the way I like to describe it is like a dog chasing its own tail. Like you create your own problems and then you're just running around trying to solve them. Meanwhile, thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I stop? Why can't I, I tried AA, I tried therapy. This is around 27, 28 when I'm like, all right, like enough of all of this. I tried therapy. I tried AA. I went to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health for a 8-week program, and I would have success. I would, stop drinking for a week to a month. I even made it 9 months one time, but I would always come back to it. Whether it's stress, whether it's, oh, it's been a long time, maybe I can just have one. I could never have one. That was just the biggest lie I would tell myself. I'm sharing these so that people can relate to what it's really like. Because on paper, I had a job, I was, I had friends, a social circle, going out, all that looks great. But inside, things were not good. Towards the later years, depression, anxiety, weight gain. I struggled in my love life. I struggled in my social life. People would tell me that, hey, like, we don't like hanging out with you because you always go overboard and things of that nature. Um, and finally, I found the real solution, which was I read a book in 2020, January 2020, which is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. In this book, he talks about the quantum world and and he gives you this very specific meditation to create change in your brain. So I really like that. I like the idea that, you know what, everything outside of me is not the reason why this is happening. All the answers are inside. So let's look. And that's how it started. I started doing meditation. I started drifting deeper inward. I started dealing with those painful emotions that I later learned that, okay, I pretty much had ruined my life. I thought that it was over. My parents were, I was my parents' hope for a better life because they're all the way in Pakistan still, and I'm the one who's supposed to come here, make something of myself, and then, help the rest of the crew, so to speak. And there was a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of darkness, and all I would do was drink to mask it all. And finally, I started dealing with my core problems, my core challenges with my own self. And now, 5 years later, I haven't touched a drop. I was able to not only turn my life around after recognizing that, hey, all of this is within my control, and just started working on all the problems. I started working on my weight. I started working on my habits. I started working on my lifestyle, started waking up earlier, started working out regularly. And all of these things essentially helped rewire me into an alcohol free version of my life to a point where now I don't think about alcohol. It's a nothing thing. People can drink around me. I go out and socialize, don't think about it. I go on at least 3 or 4 trips a year, Aruba, Turkey, different exotic places, and it's not a problem. So that is how I got to where I am today. Sorry for the
Oh,
long-winded answer.
no, great story. And thank you for sharing. So you can go out now and be around people that are drinking and you have no problem with that.
Absolutely. It means nothing. In fact, I mean, my wife, she never had a problem like that. So, we still have some wine for the guests in the fridge and all that. So every time I open the fridge, I see it, my eye goes there. But that's it. That's where it ends. So truly, I do not feel the desire or the compulsion to drink at all anymore.
That's awesome and congratulations. I do want to go back a little bit from how you grew up, and basically alcohol was prohibited.
Yes.
And do you, so I'm guessing you don't think the answer to alcohol is completely prohibit alcohol, whether it be legally or culturally.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same old story, right? When you tell someone you can't do something, well, their mind naturally goes, well, why not? Why can't I?
Right.
So it was the same thing, we had to find bootleggers, we had to go in dark alleys, and we had to literally, there was an area of Lahore, the city that I'm from. There's a part called Old Lahore, which was like the ancient Lahore in the 1800s. Over there, police presence is not as much. And you go into a dark alley, you pull over, two guys will come on a motorbike. The guy in the back will drop a paper bottle in the back seat of your car, and the guy in the front is going to take your money. And this exchange happens in 5 seconds.
Wow.
So that's how we do it. So coming back to the question, I don't think abstinence from alcohol is the same as your healing from it. What ends up happening is it starts off as an alcohol problem or dependency where we, tend to drink for various reasons. What that leads to is several problems under the hood. Problems with how you emotionally regulate yourself, problems with how you manage stress, problems with how you manage overwhelm or conflict, problems with your sleep, problems with your mindset, your self confidence. You tend to start believing things like, I need alcohol to go out and socialize. I need alcohol to be able to sleep. I need alcohol on the
Yeah.
week. These are all walls that we set up for ourselves. Think of a box and you just put yourself in that box. Now, every time you try to think, you are thinking within the box. It's all coming back to you from a very narrow, short wall. That is also known as your window of tolerance or your stress response, how your body reacts to stress. So, what I found is, and this is after working with just under 1,000 people in the last 4 years, is that nobody intentionally likes to harm themselves.
Right.
It is usually a product of circumstances where they think they don't have a way out. And there is the answer in the thinking. So if we can create a version of the same person where they are engaging in habits that are the same as one of an alcohol free person, waking up early, for example, focusing, prioritizing your health and your wellness, making sure you're making time for yourself in the morning before go, 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 especially if you have kids, and engaging in practices like meditation, like breath work, intentionally, with the intention of healing yourself, with the intention of relaxing yourself. Because at the end of the day, behind every urge to drink is the desire to change your internal state. Think about it.
Yeah.
You feel stress, your body responds to that. There's a physiological response to that stress in your body, which is your breathing gets a little shallow, your body tightens up, your neck, your jaw tightens up a little bit. And that is where you are immediately thinking of, I need to change how I'm feeling. And your brain goes, yes, I know exactly the thing. We've used it for 20 years. It works every time. And that's where immediately you jump straight to, okay, yes, I want to have a drink. In that moment, what you're trying to do is change your internal state. The same thing can be done with breath work. Breath work is this incredible, incredible art where we use our breath. It's easy. You have it, you have the lungs, you have the nervous system. It's just about consistent practice. 15, 20 minutes, it's all it takes. There's strong exercises, there's gentle exercises, there's combinations that you can do that have a different impact, different effect every time. But the end result is you bring yourself down to a calm, natural place where everything is okay. And you realize that, you know what? I don't have the urge to drink anymore. I don't feel the need to drink anymore. And that's how you're able to bring yourself down from a moment of weakness, if you want to call it that, where the only thing you can think of is having a drink. And this is how we start creating a new neural network in your brain. Because right now you have a network in your brain that's firmly established. When X happens, drink. Y happens, drink, right? There's a clear association in your mind. So the work we have to do is in building new associations. That comes from behavior. So that comes from consistent work, consistent action on a daily basis. You have to show yourself that you are this new alcohol-free version of yourself by way of your actions. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you think it gets easier day by day for you or for people that go through your program?
Absolutely. I have had people who were drinking daily. They join, they immediately start using their breath to shift their focus inward. And most people that join my program are already at a place where whatever's inside is dying to come out, but we've conditioned ourselves to always move away from it instead of lean into it. So when they start engaging in these practices, all of it starts to come out. Mental shifts happen. People realize what they'd been holding on to. They start releasing things. I've had members who joined and within a week, they just stopped drinking. Within 3 or 4 days, they had day one, and then they report back to me saying, you know what, the breathwork makes it so much easier. Like our focus is on a different place now. And it does get easier day by day. To answer your original question, I realized I didn't answer that, is yes, you don't have to quit forever. You just have to work on the root causes. You have to get yourself to a place where if you do pick up a drink, it is a choice, not a compulsion. That's the message.
Right. Okay.
Um, so, and coming back to the program, yeah, It's a year-long program. I don't believe in shortcuts. I like to support everybody through all 4 seasons. All 4 seasons have present a specific challenge. Especially in Canada, December, November, October starts getting darker, darker earlier.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that. Then you have the snow and the deep freeze. Then you have the spring. You're itching. You're excited, and then you have the summer when all guards come off and it's the summertime. We get this tiny little window to go out and enjoy ourselves, and then comes the fall, which again, okay, summer's gone, oh blue, so every season has its own challenges, and every single person that joins my program, I can't say that every single person is 100% alcohol free, because that's not really what this is about. This is about the quality of your life, and 100% of my members are experiencing a significantly higher quality of life day in and day out.
And that's the key. It's like um, some people can drink and have no problem with it, and some people just can't have one drink because I love what you said about what you say you wanted to have a drink instead of your the compulsion to drink. I,
Exactly.
yeah, and that's what I like what you said. Now, so what are your thoughts about? You say you tried AA and it didn't work. So I think AA is one of the programs that basically says that you're an alcoholic forever and you're in recovery forever. Is that
Correct.
correct?
That is correct. Yes.
What
And
are your
that is what
thoughts
I
about
was told. Absolutely. So, look, first of all, before we get into this, I just want to mention AA has done wonders for a lot of people for years and years and years. I'm not trying to discredit that it doesn't work. It just didn't work for me. And what I'm finding is that more and more and more and more people are recognizing that it's not working for them as well. And the reason for that is exactly what you just said. When you join AA, the idea is that you are powerless against this substance, and the only way out is to surrender your will to the Lord, not the universe, not what you believe in, but to the Lord. Right? So there lies one key issue. If I don't have a Lord that I, take to, then what do I do? Right? Also, what I find is that there isn't that much of an emphasis on the real healing. There's more of an emphasis on abstinence. And in the specific circle that I was in, there was a lady who mustered the strength to open up and admit that after 2 or 3 months of sobriety, she had gotten, a month chip and a 3-month chip, and then she relapsed. The way how that was met in that circle, it really, really opened my eyes, because it was shame. It was, it's your fault. You are weak. Literally, verbatim, you must be weak. Like, those are the words that I heard. And that didn't sit right with me. And it made me feel like, you know what, like maybe this isn't the right place for me. But majority of people that I talk to are also in the same mindset that, look, I am not some hopeless addict that will always be an addict, and
Right.
myself included. Um, Personally, my personal choice is I'm much happier without alcohol. So it's just, it doesn't even cross my brain anymore. But for some people, they might. Some people enjoy the taste of wine. Some people really enjoy the taste of beer. And all those things, only if you have healed from the root causes, you can experiment and see for yourself. What happens most of the time, though, is people will come into my program, they will do really well for 6 months, then they'll have that itch. Ugh, let me see if I can just have one. Let me see if I can just have one. Okay, great. When they have that one, 8 out of 10 of those people will tell me, I don't know why I did that. It does nothing for me. And I get more relaxation from breath work than I did with that beer. So it makes zero sense to me. And you need that in your head, that realization, that black and white realization that it doesn't do anything for me anymore. I have a new mind, a new life. It doesn't serve a purpose anymore. And you realize that just like that, your problem's gone, right? Um, as far as AA goes, I would say out of every 100 people that I work with, at least 50 of them have been in AA previously. Um, and it's just exactly what you said. People don't like being labeled. People don't want to be cornered off into, okay, it's either this or nothing, right? And that's about it.
Yeah,
That's my take on AA.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. We've had some other people on our show that has alcohol programs, and they kind of said the same thing. Is that one thing? Just like you said, one thing that AA does is it labels you as an alcoholic your entire life, or that's what it
Yeah,
wants you to do. And the problem is like if you associate with that and you believe that, then you'll always be associated with alcohol. And I think you want to just completely get away from that. And kind of a little bit of A, and I don't know much about it. I've never went through A. Just from what people like you have told me and what other I've had other people talk about their experience, is that in some ways it labels you a victim, and when you have that mentality, then you can never have power to take over what was your problem.
exactly. Because when you're the victim, what you're also saying is it's not my fault.
Yeah,
How can you
right,
take accountability for something that's not your fault?
right,
You see what I mean?
right.
And in AA, if you want to be successful, you have to, and pardon my French, but you have to drink the Kool-Aid. Otherwise, they won't,
Yeah,
they won't take you in, right?
right.
So you either drink the Kool-Aid or you feel like an outsider that's not welcome there.
Yeah,
Both situations don't work for healing and recovery, right? So you're absolutely right. And that mentality, that mindset, that identity is exactly what we are trying to change. So how can we get better when we are telling ourselves in every meeting that yes, I am an alcoholic, yes, I will always be, what is that saying? You never drive far from the ditch.
right,
I don't
right.
see the ditch in my rear view anymore. So, but hey,
So
um
I'm assuming on that same mindset, you don't necessarily believe that alcoholism is a disease, or I guess maybe um, labeled as a disease that you can't overcome. I don't know.
so there's different levels. It can turn into a disease like wet brain, like cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh,
Wet brain
right,
is when
right.
you've just lost so much cells in your frontal lobe that it's just not working anymore. That's literally what it is. So it can turn into that. It starts off as a coping mechanism, which ultimately extended use of it turns it into various other diseases. But alcoholism in itself, no, I don't think it's a disease. In fact, that I mean, I've studied the DSM-5 models. I've understood exactly what it is. And in the DSM-5 model, the DSM, for those of you who don't know, is I forget what it stands for, but it's basically the doctor's Bible. Anytime you have to do any kind of diagnosis,
Yeah,
it's in there. If it's not in there, you can't diagnose it, right? So
right.
in the DSM-5, it is now no longer a disease. It's referred to as AUD, alcohol use disorder. A
Ah,
disorder is no longer a disease. And they have given a criteria to check for yourself. There are 16 criteria. If you have six or more out of those, no, there's 10. And if you have six or more, then you have a severe dependency. That is what I, that is more in line with what I believe based on my personal experience as well as working with other people. I tend to work with people with children. I've got children myself. I've got one coming literally tomorrow. So
congratulations.
thank you, thank you.
A new dad. I
Um,
love it.
yep, it's a brand new baby. Life is going to be great. Sorry, yeah. So I was saying working with people with children because those are the ones that are not quite at that place where they need a medical detox and they need to go into, all these centers, or they're not physically dependent. Because when you are physically dependent, there are some risks, health risks that are associated with quitting cold turkey. But not everybody is like that. In fact, very rarely, I see this, I just saw this yesterday, where people get scared into continuing drinking because they are so afraid of the possible withdrawals that they're nowhere near experiencing, or they're not drinking anywhere near the amount that they would
Yeah,
possibly experience a
right.
seizure, but they're scared. And it makes it easy to just continue drinking. Um, my Sorry, what was the question again? I think I sidetracked a little.
That's okay. Let's see. What was it? A disease. Alcoholism being a
Is
disease.
exactly. So the disorder is something that you can definitely work on and make it go away. If it turns into a disease, alcohol itself is not a disease as much as the diseases that it can lead to.
So thank you for that explanation. That's a great one. And I agree with you. So what about the what about your thoughts of if somebody has if anybody questions how much they drink, like, wow, do I drink too much, or should I drink at all, or is that a sign that they might have a problem?
As clear as day.
Okay.
If you have to question it, you have it. That's where it is. I have not yet met somebody who drinks once a week and thinks they have a problem, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so um if you're thinking about this, if you are waking up wondering, huh, what did happen last night? Far too often, it's time. If you are waking up and looking at yourself in the mirror and going, ugh, what did I do to myself? It's time. If you are, again, constantly, if you're at work and you're done at 5, and by 3 o'clock, you're like, great. So, which wine am I opening tonight? It's time,
Yeah.
right? So, these are your signs that, because these are the same signs that I ignored for years. If I had paid attention to them, I may not have suffered for as long as I did.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about here's your website, breezesober.com. Tell us a
Yep.
little bit about your website and how people sign up.
So if you go to the Breathe Sober Reset Method page, this is my program. So the third one there. Um, are you able to click on that?
Let's see. Go over to which one?
Next to About Breathe
Oh,
Sober Reset. Yeah, there we
okay,
go.
there we go. Right
So
there.
this is the program. It's a 12-month program. And the way it's broken down is first we work on your mindset, your root causes, your false beliefs around it, and your routine and your lifestyle. So we have to work on the mind first. And if you keep scrolling down, there's a section that explains sort of, if you scroll down,
I'm getting there.
yep. Yeah, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's my wife, by the way.
Awesome.
Um, keep going, keep going. You can
Look at
do a
that
few
body
scrolls.
transformation.
Yeah, that's so that was me losing 50 pounds.
Wow.
On the left is 2019, on the right is 2020. And
Awesome.
I started getting sober March 11, 2020. So this right picture is October 2020. Um, so anyway, so in the program, we first work on your mind, and that lasts about 4-ish weeks. That's where we're working on the nervous system. That's where I'm teaching you breathwork techniques that you will use in specific circumstances, such as when you come home from work and you have the witching hour, or right there. So the 4 drivers behind the alcohol problem. This is what we work on in the program. So again, first it is your mind. So we have to work on that. That's where you're learning breath work, you're learning simple routines, 15-minute, 20-minute routines, and you're building your tolerance, your breathwork tolerance up to a 30 to 40-minute session. That's called pranayama. So we get into that a little bit later. But your root causes, your external triggers in your environment, and your routine. These are the things that we are working on. We get your root causes, and then you practice doing something new in the exact same situation. Each of those things I provide for you. So the second phase, if you want to scroll down a little bit further, like once we work on the all the drivers for you, things that are driving this under the hood, those are all of your root causes. And if you scroll down further, there's going to be a little section that explains sort of how it's all delivered. But anyways, the second phase is the practical phase. This is what I call the 5D healing environment, right here.
Right
Scroll
here.
down further,
Oh,
further, further, further. This is just explaining it all in detail. Right after this, it will come. Uh, Sorry, it's a long page, but there's a lot of
That's okay.
amazing information on here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you keep scrolling, it's gonna come right there, right? Yeah, perfect. So this is what explains everything. If you want to just scroll up a little bit further up. But anyways, second phase is the 5D healing environment. This is the practical side. This is where all the neuroscience comes in. So you learn exactly how habits are formed. You learn exactly what the process is of forming a new habit easily. You meet with me weekly in our group calls, and you practice the breath work with me as well. So all the breathing routines that you're learning at home, you practice with me and the community as well every week. And in that second phase, that's where the real magic is happening, is because we're building that new version of you. So you will have worksheets that will identify exactly the kind of identity, personality, habits, lifestyle you want in 3 to 6-ish months. And then we work towards installing those habits in your daily life. That's sort of the best way I can describe it. But it's that second phase where so much regeneration and new neural networks are being made, and you're essentially changing the way you live, how you wake up, what time you wake up, how much sleep you're getting, what you're eating, how you handle stress, how you handle celebrations, how you handle um, yourself, like you're regulating your own self, how you handle painful emotions, how you handle, anytime you feel the need to escape, like shifting your focus inward instead of trying to escape. All of those things are happening in that phase. And after that, it's just maintenance. You've learned some new skills. Life will continue throwing curveballs at you. And now it's about practicing what you have learned. And I support you for an entire year throughout that journey.
Wow. Very comprehensive program.
It is, yes. I created this because, first I got, as soon as I discovered meditation, I'm like, okay, I need to dig into this more. So I got certified in mindfulness-based stress reduction techniques. From there, I learned NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. So how we talk to ourselves and like what story we're telling in our own head, because that is everything, right?
Hmm.
Because you talk to yourself the most out of anyone. From there, I got an official alcohol recovery coaching certification just to make sure that I am not missing anything. And from there, I got certified in breathwork. So each of these modalities, along with some lessons from James Clear, from Gabor Mate, from Joe Dispenza, there's several authors that are just phenomenal people. So a lot of that has gone into the program and what it is today. It's a living, breathing thing. It continually gets updated as we grow and evolve. But the main thing is you will learn exactly what your root causes are. You will learn exactly why you can't stop drinking when you try so much, and how you've been looking at the problem in the wrong way. We'll give you the tools to make it easy and fun. You'll join a community of like-minded moms and dads, 30s, 40s, 50s. Everybody's, in the same position. And it's what we have is just this thriving little community of 70 or 80 people. It's not even that big, where everyone just comes together. And my favorite part is the friendships that I see
Hmm.
happening every day, where people come in, they connect with one another, and they become each other's support systems. Like, how beautiful is that? And that's about it. Like, we work on addressing the root causes, and we show you exactly how to heal your nervous system and let go of all the things you're holding on to that are driving this for you. Everybody's holding on to something
I
by
love
now.
it. I love
By
it.
now.
What a great program, and thank you for educating us on that today. You've helped us realize our goal, Hamza, which is to educate and empower individuals to take charge of their own health. So thank you for
Absolutely.
doing that. I hear you're on Instagram too. If people want to get a hold of you.
Absolutely. My handle is Hamza Najam dot sobriety coaching. Sorry, it's a mouthful, but it works for SEO.
Yeah, right, right. And your name is streaming up there on our banner, so they can look it up through
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Um, Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as we wind this podcast up, how do you want to finish?
I just have one message for anyone here today that has been thinking about stopping drinking or changing their life, or i.e., whether you're sober curious or whether you're actively working on trying to stop. Just remember this: everything you need in order to stop and change your life already exists within you. What you're doing wrong is thinking that alcohol itself is your big problem. It is not. You have to look at your nervous system. And the moment you start addressing the problems underneath the umbrella of alcohol problems, stress, relationships, painful emotions, habit, unable to even visualize yourself as an alcohol free person, all of these things are the real place to do the work. There's not any one of you guys who is not able to create the version of yourself. And please reach out to me if you want to learn more about how breathwork can solve your problems. I have tons of free content on my pages, on my website, tons of free breathwork exercises. There's on my YouTube channel as well, lots of free breathwork that you can just try. I just want you to try, just breathe and see how it feels.
I love it. Thank you so much, Hamza, for your knowledge and wisdom today and your experience. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Shawn. It was an absolute pleasure being here, and I love what you're doing. And so, please, I hope you continue changing lives, touching people, and helping them along their journeys in life.
Awesome. And thank you, Health Solutions listeners and viewers, for tuning in today. Tune in Monday to our regularly scheduled podcast, 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you.